happening? Hey, everybody. Got my Atlanta friends on here, Jason and Ashley, talking about rentals. Why, Jason's been in real estate a million years. He's one of the top leaders in the Atlanta area in the real estate market. And yet he has a rental division too. So, here to pick his brain and his right hand person, Ashley, right and left hand, I'm assuming, does it all to talk to us about the rental division and why go rentals. So who wants to lead it off, Jason?
So I'll just kind of start with the history and where we are. And at this point, the rentals are a good about 30% of our business for the team. And when I say 30%, that also includes the sales that generate off of that. So I believe it was 2004. I had never done anything with rentals, had no desire. And the house across the street for me that I lived in, I looked out my office window and there was this 3 foot tall overgrown grass mess, abandoned house. And so I had mailed a letter to the owner in California saying, "Hey, I live across the street from your property. It's abandoned. I'm a realtor. Do you want to sell it?" And he calls me and he's like, "Hey, I got your letter. I don't want to sell the property, but I want to rent it. Could you help me rent it?" And I was like, "Well, I've never done that before, but I'm like, how hard could this be? Because it's right across the street." So I started managing that one property. Then I started managing some more within the area. And then it really exploded, I guess, probably like 2009. At that point, I was up to only about a dozen properties over that first, like, about 5 year period. And then when the downturn hit, I would basically go to the listing appointment and say, "Hi, Mr. and Mrs. Seller. You owe $400,000 and your home is worth 250. You can walk away from it, short sell it, bring $150,000 to closing, or you could make it an investment property." And so I had a lot of people keep them as investment properties. And then some of them that really liked being landlords, when the values came back, they did 1031 exchanges and turned those properties into multiple properties, as well as buying more. And so that's where we generate a lot of business. These landlords are always buying and selling properties. And we've been doing this long enough now that, like, our landlords that like to buy new and sell them at the 10-year mark, we've already, had multiple properties where they hit that 10-year mark and we trade them. We also get tenants buying from us. We've even had tenants that happen to own a property they were moving out of that they were renting and then later say, "Oh, we want to have you manage ours as well." So it generates a lot of extra business. It also helps you keep your business. When you're sending a check to someone every month, they're not going to forget that you're their agent. As well as just keeping our people in general. Because the other thing that I will see happens a lot, agents will refer their client out to someone for property management, and then they lose that client. We are really good, though, about returning people, which is why we do well with our realtors, because there are some companies in our area, and I'm sure this happens everywhere, where we hear the company, you will refer them within your own company, and the broker will take the lead from you and not give it back. So we've had people that their company offers property management services, but they come to us instead because they know we're going to respect
Give it
them
back
and
to them.
send them
No,
back.
that's really important. So then what I'm hearing is that you get buyers from your tenants. You get to keep your own homeowners rather than giving it to a company that doesn't get it back. And then you're also making money off of it, right? But then there was a third way you were telling me about how you use your rentals, which I thought was interesting point.
Right. So yeah, we do short-term rentals only for our clients. So if your property is listed with us and say you're building a home and you need a 6-month lease, we will get you in a 6-month lease. And typically the way we do that is we waive our commission to the landlord. So they're not out, like, for them, they're like, "Okay, great, we're getting a free tenant for 6 months." And it really, people appreciate it. And then what's funny is sometimes their friends will call us and want like a 3-4 month lease. And we're like, "Sorry, this is only for our clients that are, under our buyer agency agreement. If you're working with another agent, no, our short-term services are not available for you. So, it's an extra exclusive service just for our clients.
And so, Ashleigh, because my understanding is you truly are the right and left hands, right? You're closing coordinator, is that right?
Not anymore. I have been. I've kind of done all the things, but right now mainly I'm like the property manager. I handle the rental division.
So and you guys have 100 plus homes? How many homes are you renting?
I think we vary about 100. Yeah, on average.
And then how many hours does that take you? Like, is that a nightmare for you? It's
not a nightmare for me. I mean, I've been doing it a long time. I pretty much have it down, but it's definitely different than the sell side. I definitely think that people don't realize how different it is, especially agents. Yeah, it's much different. So it's a full-time job. It's 8 hours a day, Monday through Friday, and sometimes nights and weekends if there's an emergency.
What I'll say to people trying to build it. So I did it by myself until I got to 25 properties. And that's when I hired my first full-time assistant, Marilyn. And then probably when I got to around 50 is when Ashleigh came on. And now I have to carry 3 assistants total for the team to be able to operate at the number we're at.
Because you're just a rock star, Jason.
And we do also try to keep, like on Ashleigh's end, she still does work as a transaction coordinator just for the property management ones because they're used to dealing with her. So if that landlord's selling out property, they don't want to talk to somebody else. So she just kind of deals with everything related to our property management clients.
No, that's awesome. And I've started a property management company thanks to the help of you and Ashleigh, which is very, very small. And it's the struggle is real trying to figure it out. But everything I've heard about it, and part of the reason I did it, and you hit on that a little bit too, Jason, was that when real estate is really good, your property management goes down, right? But when real estate turns, then the property management goes up. So it's a great way to keep that income coming in all markets.
And it's really good on both ends because when we were in a hot market, we were losing rentals, but we were selling them. So we were making a ton of real estate commissions, even though our number of rentals were going down. So, it's kind of always a very solid part of our business. There's not really ups and downs.
I was going to say, I feel like it's pretty steady. I feel like it's a steady business either way, honestly.
So that's awesome. And you've given me really good advice, and I'm so appreciative of it as far as, having washer and dryers in there and just some nuances or some issues that you guys have run into that with your experience that hopefully I've learned from you so I don't run into those same problems.
Yeah.
Well, and we're always tweaking things. And actually the newest thing that we are venturing into is we are partnering with a company collection company to go after tenants who owed money at move out, whether they were behind on rent or owed money for damages, whatever it is. Now we're adding that in to the mix as well.
Wow. Do you have that happen a lot?
Not a lot, but enough that it's worth, when it does happen, it's like the most recent one. Well, we had one where it was 7,000 or so, Ashleigh, I think they owed.
Yeah. I mean, but they lived there 9 years. But not
that one. That one was only 3,400. Not the one before that was like $7,000. Where you had the tenant that wouldn't leave.
Oh, that tenant. Yes. She wasn't there.
That would be horrible.
That one didn't damage the property. They just owed a lot of rent and kept prolonging not getting out of the house.
Oh, wow.
Tenants are getting smarter. I will say that. They're getting smarter.
Tenants are using AI.
They're figuring out ways to get fake documents. You've really got to kind of be on your A game to play.
Well, and tell them about our pet screening we're doing now because of that.
Oh, please.
Yeah, so we do a pet screening company. It's just petscreening.com, and we make every single tenant complete it, whether they have a pet or they don't. If they don't have a pet, there's no charge. If they do, there is, and it determines their monthly rent. But the reason we started that is we had a tenant apply with a dog, went through the normal process, collected the pet deposit, moved him in. A year later, she says, my dog is an ESA. And I said, oh, okay. I said, well, can you, send me your paperwork? Oh, well, it was an ESA when we moved in. And I was like, oh, well, you never said that, right? So she produces this backdated letter from a year ago.
Oh, Lord.
Yes. And we went to the broker, and the broker's like, honestly, the best thing to do is just give her the deposit back and not even get in the middle of that. So we did, but now every single person goes through a screening, and
So what is the pet screening? Explain what that is.
so it's a link that is specifically for your dashboard, your company, and then you kind of set your rates for your monthly pet rent, and it gives them a score, and it determines the pet rent from there. So we collect it monthly now. We don't do a pet deposit any longer. Honestly, the landlords come out better with the pet rent every month.
Yeah.
So
it determines it based off the breed of the animal?
Based off breed, it makes them put in vaccination and vet records based off size. If there's ever been like a bite accident that's on record, they take that into account.
So it pulls up literally the pet's record.
Yes.
That's smart.
Mm-hmm.
So like if you're not up to date on your pet shots, you're going to get a worse score and pay more rent. But it can also be good for the tenant too, because over the years we've had people where they're like, they know their dog could die any day now.
Yeah.
So they don't want to pay a pet deposit. Well, if you move in and 2 months later your older dog passes away, the pet rent goes away.
Oh, that's nice. Well, how come they couldn't go away before?
Because it's non-refundable. When we used to do the pet
because it's a deposit, not monthly.
Right. You don't get it back. So, but things like the pet screening, Ashleigh's active in NARPM, the National Property Managers Association. And so she goes to their conference every year and gets all the latest information on, scams or marketing. Like we use self-showing lock boxes, all these things that we find, she's finding them at NARPM and, getting to meet the vendors. The same as like when we go to R4 and you're looking at different people for signs or marketing or whatever, NARPM, she's able to find everything we need for property management.
Well, that's nice. That's why I saw Ashleigh.
Yes.
Yeah. When it was
and I recommend NARPM to everybody who wants to get into it. It's really a great resource.
Yeah. Yeah, and it wasn't too big of a convention. I don't remember how many people were there, but I didn't feel overwhelmed. I learned a whole lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's good.
Well, good. So then in closing, anything else you guys want to add?
I was going to ask Jason, so for the agents listening, when did you feel like the property management business for you became profitable?
For me, it would have been, it was break even at at 12 properties, it was sort of break even on money, but not your time. Like 25 was okay. I think you need to be at 50 though, to actually be making money and for it to be worth your time. And we have some agents in our office that manage like a dozen to half a dozen. And it just seems like they're always stressed out with it. It's a lot of work. And the problem is when you think about what you make on this, it's not that much, but if you have a lot of them, it's a decent amount of monthly money. But if you're only doing a few, you're not making that much. And then say one of those properties has an eviction that month or something, you're going to be doing all this work and you're not getting paid enough for your time.
Yeah.
And that's like at 5, I'm learning, but I am definitely not making a penny. And anyway, it's okay.
But it's great learning curves though. I mean,
it's a lot of learning. Holy cow.
Yeah. You'll be prepared for more.
I mean, I'd also probably add on there, you need to be very like attention to detail, very organized. If you're not, you need somebody who is, because like your walkthroughs have to be very thorough. I mean, if you miss something that was damaged or don't photograph it, and the tenant damages it, you don't have proof that it was in good condition before, then you're not going to be able to charge at the end. Also just timeliness, because like it varies from state to state, but in Georgia, we only have 3 days to do a move out inspection. Okay. We've also got, I think, 30 days, Ashleigh, on resolving security deposit?
Yes.
And so if you don't follow the deadlines on all of these, the landlord is not entitled to anything.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So, and it's just it's a lot of things to follow on the law. And that's one of our big things we sell when we're talking to landlords about why they should go with us. And it's like, you may only have one property as a landlord, and so you don't have time to keep up with all this. We're here to keep them out of trouble. Because, like, for example, in Georgia, it's illegal to make a tenant do repairs on a property.
Oh, wow.
There's landlords that put in their agreement that if it's under $200 repair, the tenant has to do it. That's not allowed in Georgia. And so these people are out breaking the law, and it's fine if everybody agrees to it. But if something happens and then you end up in court over an eviction or something, and those things start coming up, then you're going to get in trouble when they're looking over your documents that you were not doing the right.
If you get audited, it'll be a problem.
And we have been audited by the Real Estate Commission, and we came out fine with no issues. They love looking at property managers for lead-based paint exhibits. A lot of people forget to do those because they're thinking, oh, we only need this when we sell. But if it was built before 1978, it doesn't matter if not. And that's actually another big thing. If you have a tenant who gets sick from lead paint, it's up to a $4 million settlement fine.
Oh, hell. That's a little bit of chump change there. Holy shit.
Right. So we will not take properties built before 1978 unless the landlord agrees to have a lead-based paint inspection done. And then what we do is we attach that report to every single lease we do on that property. So if it shows this windowsill has lead-based paint, the tenant has signed that. If the tenant's baby decides to eat the windowsill, we're not liable because we disclose this windowsill has lead-based paint.
Yeah.
Wow, that's kind of scary.
And that kind of helps us weed out some of the slumlords, because if they don't want to spend the money for that, we're sorry, we can't help you.
Yeah.
And that's another thing with property management. You don't have to take everybody. I mean, if you get a slum, we fired landlords before that won't do necessary repairs, and it's just not worth the lawsuit that could come your way. So
I would agree with you on that.
Yeah.
I've turned away 2 so far, which is kind of funny because I only have 5, but they wouldn't do anything. And I can't remember if it was one of you or somebody when I went to the National Board of Realtors property management that was talking about. So I told them they had to, for a fireplace, they had to get it inspected, a wood burning fireplace, and they refused to. And I told them no, because that's what everybody said, the fireplaces could be dangerous. And that every 3 to 5 years you should have it inspected. And this house was built in the late 50s, and the fireplace had never been inspected.
Oh boy. Yeah,
exactly.
I will say in the beginning, you're going to have to take some of those difficult ones to build up the business. Just like how a new agent, like a buyer's agent, is going to get stuck with some of those people that want to see 100 homes that nobody else will work with.
That's fair.
You're going to have to take some of the more difficult clients in the beginning. But for us, probably when we got around the 75 mark is when we started firing the ones that weren't worth our time. Yeah. But we had to get to the point where we were profitable and could afford to lose those people. Yeah. Now we're at the point where we don't have to advertise at all for this. Almost every single one of our landlords has referred us to at least another landlord, and then they refer us to another landlord. We've got one group that we're probably working on about 12 new properties in the last year, just from one that's mouth. So we're about to list, 3 or 4 more just from that one little group of people, where they just keep saying, hey, Jason and Ashleigh do a great job. Call them.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, that's the biggest compliment, right? Word of mouth.
Yeah, like I said, it's great because it's actually the most profitable pillar of my team, because we've got, the rentals, the sales, and then the new construction. New construction is profitable as well, but that's another one where there's a lot of expenses on marketing and all. And running the team, there's just a lot. The property management division is very low maintenance. We have certain expenses like the self-showing boxes, occasionally getting new signs, but we're not doing any advertising. Nothing fancy on that. And actually, a lot of our appointments are actually on the phone and not even in person. A lot of these people aren't local, and they'll have a lockbox out, or somebody will meet us with a key. So a lot of our landlords we've never met. So we're not showing up with fancy brochures and things like we would on a listing appointment to sell a property. So it's a lot less cost on that part.
Yeah, that's awesome. I know before, Jason, when you and I were talking, I don't even know how long ago this has been, maybe a year or so, and my market was down, and I was struggling on paying all these expenses. And you're like, that's why you need property management. It has like been a steady stream of business. And that, I think that is a great part of it, is that it is predictable.
Right. And then another bonus, of course, too, so we do pay repairs for landlords if they're, not crazy expensive and we take them out of the rent. But if you're doing that, put them on your Amex or your, Visa, whichever one you're getting the points. So then you're also earning some points on those repairs. And then another thing, not point related, but just in general, we get much better service from our vendors for our clients who are selling, who have nothing to do with the property management division because of the amount of business we're sending them. We're sending the AC people business weekly, garage door people at least monthly. The painter is getting nonstop jobs from us. Our flooring people, having to replace carpet. So since we do such a volume for them, we get better pricing. So when we're doing those listings for sale, we have such a better volume than a normal agent who maybe is only sending, maybe certain painters of theirs are only getting a couple jobs a year. Wow. Well, with us, our painters getting at least a job a month. And so it just puts us on, even with our photographer, we have so many more jobs that we're sending them that we're kind of on the top of their list of who they're going to, cut a favor for if we need it.
So, and that's it. See, these are a lot of reasons to use the property management. That's just another side, a benefit that you get on the back end.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's awesome. Well, guys, thank y'all so much. Y'all have been awesome. Yeah. And if anybody has any questions about rentals and why do a rental division, DM Jason Moore or Ashleigh.
And if people are wanting to diversify, if you don't want to get into property management, but your client wants properties, if they don't like where you're at, Atlanta's still a great place. We've got so much of the movie industry blowing up. There's so many industries here. It is a good market to purchase in.
Yes, it is. That's awesome. And real estate's doing well for you too, Jason?
Yeah, this past weekend, I think we just did one deal. The previous weekend, we did 2.7 million in volume. But I know already on Monday, we've got an offer coming in on one. I have a second showing on a property tomorrow. So it's been pretty busy still.
That's good. Busy is good. That's how we pay our bills, right?
Right. And of course, we'll have about a week. We'll have a slowdown with the 4th of July holiday, usually for about a week there, and it'll pick up again. But we're on par. Our May was slow, and then June got really busy as I expected it would.
Oh, that's good. We're up about 12% from last year, which we're down the number of agents and up the number of closings. So that's good.
That's good.
Yeah, that's good.
We're surprisingly seeing a lot of new agents still. I don't know why they're wanting to get in right now, but they are.
Yeah. Well, yeah. It's all right. It's all right. They're not competition for you, Jason. Everybody knows you do everything more.
Oh.
Sells more, leases more.
We try. There's no other option. It's either stop spending money or
Isn't that the truth? Or make it.
Yeah.
Well, awesome. Well, thank you guys. I've got a listing appointment at 6, so I'm going to scoot. But I appreciate you and your time and your knowledge and insight.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah. And your friends.
Have a good week, everybody.
Yeah. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.